This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Monday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, number one sports podcast network out there. And a very busy week coming up with Thanksgiving and a lot of big games on Thursday in the NFL. We have a lot to get to, and I can get to them today, but just letting you know that. But Panthers 49ers tonight to close out week 12 in the NFL. Also, we have NBA and college basketball picks to get to. So, Lee, without further ado, let's get to tonight's wrong team favorite.
What the
WTF.
Big game in the NFC. I don't think a lot of people thought this a few months ago when it was on the Monday night schedule. The 49ers and the Panthers, that just kind of another game, and San Francisco will win. Carolina's terrible, but that's not the case. Carolina has played well off a couple nice road wins in Green Bay. I know Atlanta struggled, but still came back to beat the Falcons last week, had that clunker against the Saints in between. But Carolina heading out to the Bay Area tonight, Lee. They are 7.5-point dogs. The Christian McCaffrey Bowl tonight as McCaffrey sees his old team. Lee, what do you like here at the Niners and the Panthers?
Yeah, I mean, crazy. No one thought Carolina was going to have a winning record at this point, at least anyone except for Carolina faithful fans. So I believe, I could be wrong, you tell me, I think the best two teams in the NFC are the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Would you agree right now?
It's the Rams. I mean, the Seahawks, I feel like, are top four, but I don't know. But I mean, we'll talk about the Eagles in a little bit, and the Lions have underachieved a bit. But yeah, it's tough. But I think it's the Rams and then kind of everyone else. But yes, you could throw Seattle in that conversation.
Okay. I think Seattle could be the second best. Why do I say that? They played the Rams and 4 turnovers, 4 interceptions, and still had a chance to win it with a 61-yard field goal. So, I mean, Sam Darnold sometimes. I just think my personal feeling is they're the second best team. Maybe not by much, but they are. San Francisco has a nice record with all these injuries and is the third best team in their division. They're clearly going to be just a wild card. So they got back Brock Purdy. Everyone's excited. Lines up to 7.5, and you're going, Bryce Young probably had an absolute miracle game. He throws for 448 yards last week. I think half of the yards or more were yards after catch. His receivers and his running backs made great plays down the field, eluding tacklers. But here's what's interesting. Even in his poor passing games as far as numbers, where he threw for 124, 102, 138, 199, 198, 150, and 121. They're 5-2 in those 7 games, which just shows you they're not built based on his passing. How are they built? Running the football here. So even the Cardinals, I thought, were moving the ball. I thought against the 49ers last week, I thought that score was a little bit fraudulent here. I think that they have trouble stopping the run. Does San Francisco. So we're seeing the Panthers now 6-5 straight up, 7-4 against the spread. I think plus the points here is to play. We're going to go with a wrong team favorite. We're going to go with the Carolina Panthers plus 7.5 points. I think this game goes down to the wire. Wouldn't shock me if they win it outright.
Now, I know we're not going to base it just on trends, Lee, but I want to throw this out to you too. So San Francisco, week 3 against Arizona won. Next week against Jacksonville lost. Next week against the Rams won. Next week against Tampa Bay lost. Next week against Atlanta won. Next week against Houston lost. Next against the Giants won. Next against the Rams lost. Next against Arizona won. They have not won consecutive games since they went 3-0. So San Francisco's up and down, and they're off a win last week, a really good win over Arizona. So, I'm with you on that. And Carolina's been good on the road. They've been competitive. And you're right. They're not asking Bryce Young to do a lot. If he does, that's great. But they're not asking him to do that much. And just don't turn the ball over. And Carolina right now a winning record. So we'll see how that one goes tonight out at Levi's Stadium. So let's recap the weekend. And struggled a bit at 2-5, but I want to go over this, though, Lee. A couple of the losses were non-covers and wins. So the Seahawks were in control over the Titans. The Chiefs had to come back against the Colts. I want to tie this in now, talking some NFL. We'll get to some college in a second. Where are you putting the Chiefs now? Obviously, 6-5. The door is still open for them to be a playoff team. Denver leads that division. Chargers still in the middle of that mix. But that was a big win over Indianapolis. Now the Colts have lost 2 of 3, so maybe the luster's wearing off on them. But I feel like with the Chiefs, it's not impressive, but if they just get in the playoffs, they'll do what they do.
Yeah, I mean, experience does matter. I think something like the last 4 or 5 possessions were all 3 and outs. And so that was a problem for Indianapolis. You got to have that experience. You got to know how to get first downs, move the ball. If they do, they win the game. And then if you had Kansas City like I did, I mean, the line was 3 most of the week, then went to 3.5, closed at 4, 4.5. They're at the 1 yard line, 1.5 yard line, first down, and they lose 5 yards in 3 plays. I don't think that Andy Reid's play calling is as good as it's been. And also Patrick Mahomes not as sharp. You know, he's so into dancing around and throwing sideways and throwing, different arm motions. You can't be as accurate that way. So I thought that it was a great spot for them. Probably should have been. They played terrible, had to settle for all those field goals. The defense, showed out in the end. Give them credit for that. But also, I mean, there's some chinks in the armor there. I'm not real impressed with Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City or Buffalo win this thing. They just have, both these teams have wins. And when you take so many hits as far as injuries and just playing that many games, I just think that some of these guys, their skills have eroded a little bit. So teams figure you out. And I'm not as high on Kansas City, even though they won the game and should have won by more, but just the way it is. And we'll see what happens. A lot can happen, a lot more injuries. That's just the way the NFL is.
Now, on the flip side with the Eagles, they're up 21-0 in the Cowboys. Game over, easy. Dallas comes back, and Philadelphia's offense does nothing. After that 21-0 lead, Cowboys tie it. They kick the game-winning field goal. So all of a sudden now, in the span of a week, you beat the Raiders, you beat the Eagles. Season's not dead yet, and they get the Chiefs coming up at home on Thanksgiving. So Dallas can win 3 games in less than a 2-week span. All of a sudden now, maybe you still got a shot at the playoffs.
Dallas is a different team. I mean, what you saw before the trade, those 2 defenders, and after this win, discounted. Dallas is a dangerous team. Wouldn't want to play them.
And then you look at Chicago, and they face Philadelphia on Black Friday. Both teams are the same record. The Bears just keep rolling. The Steelers didn't have Aaron Rodgers yesterday. But look, you keep pulling out these wins. And I know that like next year it's not gonna be the same thing. All these close wins will go against you. But for right now, the Bears are riding that wave. And it's not the Packers, it's not the Lions, but the Bears are leading the NFC North.
I mean, their schedule, the last 6 games is sick. I mean, hardest we've maybe ever seen. But Mason Rudolph, except for the fumble and the interception, I thought was actually good, maybe better than Aaron Rodgers. So the line didn't move. I mean, line people didn't think, that maybe it moved half point some places. Aaron Rodgers isn't worth much anymore. So I actually like the Steelers without Aaron Rodgers. And the Bears are probably going to the playoffs. I mean, 8-3 now. They probably only need to win 2 of the last 6. They go 2-4. They're in. 3-3. They're definitely in. And they go 4-2. They might win the division.
I mean, right now the Bears looking the rest of the way. At Philadelphia, at Green Bay, the next 2. But then they get Cleveland at home, Green Bay at home, at San Francisco, Detroit. So definitely they're going to have the work cut out for them moving forward. Also, I guess speaking of Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders, first NFL start. I mean, it wasn't tremendous, but he did enough. And the Browns beat the Raiders. So we kind of saw this coming, Lee, to a certain extent that at some point, Joe Flacco wasn't going to be the starter. We didn't realize he'd get traded. But then Dylan Gabriel, okay, give him his shot. He gets hurt. Nothing really happened with him. And now Sanders will play at the end where Cleveland's out of it. So let's just see what happens. Maybe get some excitement. and they win the first game with him as starter. So they didn't lose 44-0 to the hapless Raiders. They were up that whole game. That, not say there's a shot. I mean, you still have Deshaun Watson hanging around, in the back, but with Shador there now, definitely the Browns will have the last month of the season a little bit of interest with him.
Yeah, they'll have interest. I think it was more a case of the Raiders just being god-awful, terrible. There were some receivers running free that, who knows, Joe Namath at 80-something years old, something like that, could have found him and maybe hit him. So I think the Raiders are terrible. Obviously, they fired Chip Kelly after the game, let him go. He's the scapegoat. Geno's terrible. The offensive line is garbage. The receivers are terrible. Running backs, injuries there too. They're not competitive. So I thought he was fine, but their defense might keep them in some games. That defense is certainly legit. It used to be they just had edge rushers. Now they got guys, defensive tackle, that are good. So they could end up being that defense. They already are elite.
One more NFL note, and we'll talk about some college in a second, but the Rams blow out the Buccaneers last night, in control the whole first half, kind of coast the second half. But the big story coming out, Baker Mayfield gets hurt and Teddy Bridgewater comes in. But I just didn't understand for the life of me, and I'm playing, Monday morning quarterback in this one, obviously. The Bucs were trying to get down the field in that final drive of the first half. Baker Mayfield gets a shotgun snap, fumbles it. It was a bad snap. He falls on it. 12 seconds left. You're down 31-7. Just get out of there. Be done with it. And Todd Bowles calls a timeout. He gets sacked the next play, and then he throws that Hail Mary, and his shoulder, where he got hurt earlier. He didn't get hurt on that play. He got hurt earlier. It was just unnecessary. And I figured, get out. You're down 31-7. Just wave the white flag. Go into halftime and save Baker. And now all of a sudden, now he's banged up, and we don't know what his status is moving forward.
Yeah, if they lose him, they're done. I mean, absolutely, it's over. So they do have an easy stretch. Maybe they can sit him for a game or two, get him well, and they can still win. But they have the easiest stretch. So let's see what happens with the injury. If he comes back, don't count them out. They're starting to get some of their receivers back and other players who were hurt. I mean, Bucky Irvin played 3 games, and they keep listing him as like questionable, doubtful. They need him back too, bad. So those 2 guys, I think, will determine their health, whether they can come back and whether they both come back. Don't count them out.
Now, shifting over to college, speaking of Mayfield's old team, the Oklahoma Sooners, you think they're in? Beat Missouri on Saturday. Special teams were very good, low-scoring game. But what Brett Venables has done to turn around this Oklahoma team, they were not good in their first year in the SEC. And they've been very good this year. They had the Alabama win. You think they're one of the top 12 and when it's all said and done?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, only because defense is not pretty. You're not, you don't get style points for winning games 45-41. So, I think they deserve to be in. Do I think they can win it? No, because their offense has really struggled. And Missouri had opportunities in that game. They should have been up probably 14-17 nothing in that game, but they missed. They had one field goal go through that was blocked. They should have scored on a couple of the drives, and the other was blocked. They lined up incorrectly. We'll talk about that another day. So yeah, Oklahoma, just based on great defense, they deserve to be in. Utah, I would say, should be out. Utah's lost 2 games. They were down 97% of the game, maybe 98.5% of the game against Kansas State, who is a nothing this year, 500 team. They give up 472 yards, not in total, just rushing. 472 rushing yards. I thought that Kansas State blew that game up double digits with like 4 or 5 minutes to go in the game. So Utah, they should definitely not be in, even with 2 losses. They'll get taken care of, I believe, not this week, but if they somehow make the championship game and BYU loses, but there in no way should they be ahead of Miami. If they do, if I'm Miami, I cancel the Notre Dame game next year and say, we're not going to do this head-to-head stuff and go on the road when it can't help us. ACC is crazy. I mean, Georgia Tech to Pitt. Any one of like 5 teams could be in the championship game. Only one team, I believe, is going to get in. Miami, who's the best team, may not get in. So there's some really big games this week. You got Miami, Pitt, 12 noon Saturday, huge. Miami has to win and probably has to win by more than the spread, 6.5, to show that they're an elite team and should be in. You got Vanderbilt, Tennessee. If Vandy ups Tennessee, and that's a low line, 2.5. They probably deserve to be in. They just destroyed Kentucky, which surprised me and a lot of people. Oregon and Washington. Could Oregon be out if they lose a game there, or it's, let's say, not close? Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State's playing for a number 1 seed, but they're at Michigan. That's always interesting. They've lost against Michigan. It seems like Michigan has their number. And then Ole Miss against Mississippi State. This might be the most interesting game because it looks like I'm a betting man, and I would put my money down on Lane. The Lane train is gone. I mean, with that statement, you don't issue a statement that you'll make a decision. You'll hear his decision after the game. If he was staying, they probably almost for sure would have announced it. So, is that line too high? Does Mississippi State play their life out? They play like it's their Super Bowl, and Ole Miss, the kid's got to be talking that their coach might be gone, and this is his last game. He's not going to play with them in the playoffs. Crazy. That's game. So I'm going to try also. We're going to hit on. There's 5 big games. We're going to try to hit on at least 3 or 4 during the week. So stay tuned as the week goes on, and we're going to break down and predict all these big games. Oh, the only other note is no Thursday show, no Thanksgiving show. I want everyone to enjoy their Thanksgiving, but we will have shows tomorrow. We will have shows Wednesday. I'll be putting out a bunch of shorts on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we'll be back on Friday with a show and also have some shorts in. So you want college football action, you want NFL action, we'll give it to you on the show and also on our shorts on YouTube.
And also we have a couple basketball plays for tonight and also a couple player props for the Monday night game. So we'll get to that coming up. You are listening to Locked On Bets. All right, let's talk now about FanDuel. And we have hit Thanksgiving, almost at Thanksgiving. And FanDuel is an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what can you bet on? Well, you have Panthers 49ers tonight in the NFL to wrap up Week 12. San Francisco favored at home. And you want to take maybe Carolina on the money line. You want to go there or just take them with the points, or you think it's going to be a blowout on the San Francisco side. You have all those choices. Also, the player props in the game. Christian McCaffrey, what he's done this season. He's facing his former team, maybe his rushing prop, touchdown prop for him. On the Carolina side with Rico Dowdle and the season he has had with Bryce Young as well. So a lot of choices there from a player prop perspective. Also MVP odds, and we have a new odds-on favorite for the MVP. It's Matthew Stafford of the Rams. He's a little over minus $2 there. And if you want to go with him to win the MVP, also maybe if something happens and Drake May can jump up and pass him. Drake May is right behind him of the Patriots for MVP. Also, Super Bowl odds, you could bet on that as well. Still got a ways to go in the season, but if you're a little frisky, guess who the favorites are? That's right, the LA Rams at plus 430, Eagles right behind at 6-1 in spite of their loss on Sunday to the Cowboys. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, we continue here on Locked On Bets here on a Monday. So let's get to the NBA and our blowout special.
Oh boy! Last one out. Turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Third time's going to be a charm, Lee, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were in Toronto tonight against the Raptors, and both teams playing, Raptors with no rest off. Well, both teams playing with no rest because the Cavs beat the Clippers yesterday. The Raptors, they beat the Nets yesterday. Toronto won the first 2 meetings in Cleveland, and the first meeting Donovan Mitchell did not play in. Toronto this year, no rest, 0-2. They've lost by double digits each time. And it tells me a lot that Toronto, for as well as they've been playing, are an underdog here at home. And Toronto was a heavy favorite, or Cleveland rather, was a heavy favorite in each of the first 2 meetings, now laying just 2.5. I'm going to lay the short number here. I think the Cavs get some revenge on the Raptors here. Toronto's been a great story, but Cleveland, I think, doesn't mess around. They don't want to be 0-3 against Toronto. Let's back the Cleveland Cavaliers here. Minus a 2.5 on the road at Toronto for our blowout special here on a Monday.
Good observation. Yeah, people who say the NBA players, revenge isn't that important. Trust me, they talk about it. They think about it. Cleveland, I still think they're the most talented team in the East. So just think that this is a good spot for Cleveland also.
Yeah, coming off an afternoon game yesterday, traveling from Cleveland to Toronto, and I get the whole customs, all that stuff, but they'll be fine. And the Raptors beat the Nets last night, so we'll see how that one turns out. Big one in the East tonight. Meanwhile, college basketball, there's a lot of these tournaments. It's kind of a fun week. Tournaments everywhere in Florida, Daytona Beach, and Fort Myers, and Orlando. There's tournaments everywhere. And then you have in Maui, you have several games. So that's what we're going to do for our late night hidden gem, looking at Maui, Texas, and Arizona State.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Two sweaty, intense coaches on the sidelines tonight, Sean Miller and Bobby Hurley, as Texas faces off with Arizona State in Hawaii. They will wear their Hawaiian shirts on the sidelines. Both teams at 4-1. Longhorns favor over the Sun Devils. Lee, what do you like here with UT and ASU?
Yeah, both teams 4-1 coming into this game here. Arizona State fell to Gonzaga. If you remember, Texas also fell to Duke in a game. And I actually thought Texas showed out pretty well. I was a little surprised. They were better than I thought they'd be. Texas, I believe, is better on both sides and ends of the floor here, offensively and defensively. So Arizona State, the head coach Hurley, built basically a new rotation here on the fly after last year. Their only win over Hawaii came a team that, that's the only team ranked above 270. So their competition, I think, is worse. Texas has been really good defensively. Haven't faced much either other than the Duke game. But I just think when you have the edge on both sides here of the court and a team, Arizona State, still trying to figure it out here, you take the Longhorns to advance and cover. I'm laying the 6.5. Texas here is going to be my blowout special over Arizona State. Starts 11 p.m. Eastern if you're up late.
All right. So, a lot of basketball, wall-to-wall if you love college basketball. And it starts early in the day and it goes all the way late. So, pretty fun this week. All right. Coming up, we're going to go back to Monday Night Football. A couple of player props between the Panthers and the 49ers to get to. So, that is straight ahead right here on Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Monday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Panthers and 49ers tonight. And what we're doing here, Thanksgiving week, we're giving you the double, the buy one, get one free, if you're getting both of them for free, of a couple player props, the 49ers and the Panthers. So with that being said, let's go to our double lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Okay, Lee, we're going to do one at a time here, and we're going to start on the Carolina side. Rico Dowdle, who came from the Dallas Cowboys, and just trying to get an opportunity behind Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard gets hurt. Dowdle gets his chance, and he's been great for Carolina this year. Had that big game against the Cowboys earlier in the year, his revenge game. You like rushing and receiving yards for him, so let's start with that, and what do you like with that?
All right, so the total rushing attempts Chuba Hubbard is 4.5. So what are they telling you? Probably going to be Rico Dowdle getting the lion's share of the carries here. So you're saying over 96.5 yards rushing, receiving, minus 115. That's a little high. Well, it's high for a reason. So Dowdle is going to be the bell cow, I believe, tonight. 49ers defense, in my opinion, is, I'm going to be nice, not very good. And I think the Panthers are going to feed him the ball here. So with that being said here, they're also going to get him out in space against the linebackers of San Francisco, which have not been great here in coverage this year. A lot of people think they're good in coverage, haven't been recently. maybe past years, but not this year. So we're going to go over 96.5 rushing receiving yards for Rico Dowdle. And if it plays with, picking Carolina, you don't want to go against yourself. You don't want to have, both running backs bet the under on them and also the under on, like, let's say, passing yards. So you want to have a chance to win all your bets. So don't want to hurt yourself. I like Rico Dowdle over 96.5 rushing receiving yards, -115 tonight. That's going to be a level 1 lock, and then a level 2 lock on Juwan Jennings.
Yeah,
San Francisco.
Juwan Jennings. Let's see what he can do with his receptions. Brock Purdy back at quarterback. So, Lee, what do you like with Juwan Jennings?
I think he's their guy. I think it's 3.5 right now. This number should be 4.5 to 5. I think they're going to go to him early and often. Hopefully they're trailing, so they got to throw the football more. They try to go to him a lot of times over the middle on play action. So I think it's a great setup here. Usually you don't play more than one player prop big, but I like both big here. Juwan Jennings over 3.5 receptions here for the San Francisco 49ers. Level 2 lock.
All right, Lee. So, like you said, big week coming up, Dovember. Still got a week left in this month. And, Lee, with Thanksgiving up ahead, huge college football games, huge NFL games on Thanksgiving. What do you got going on at Paramount Sports?
Oh, we have what's called our Turkey Shootout. And it is 15 games starting Thanksgiving Day all the way through Sunday night. Probably one of the most anticipated promotions I have every year. People like the Baker's Dozen. People love the Turkey Shootout. It'll be ready later tonight. So 10, 11 o'clock, we will have it up, just finalizing some injuries, things like that. But you can get it. So let's say you're headed out on the road. It'll be ready tonight. You can get the early lines. It's important to get the good early lines in games. And said it'll start on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and go all the way through Sunday night. 15 games, just $97. And we've had some, I think we've had a couple 13-2, 12-3 in the last 5-6 years records on this promotion. Also the player props. Don't sleep on our player props. 10-2 against the spread run and the player props run. 4-2 yesterday in the NFL. You want to get the player props through the Super Bowl. Tonight we have, I think, another three player props besides the 2 I gave out. We'll be giving to our clients. So you can get, and there's games every single day. We still got Maction going on. So you want to get that tomorrow through the Super Bowl. $297. Are you kidding me? On the player props, college and NFL combined. And we text them out to you daily. Just one place. Check out all the specials. ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as finding our podcast version on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Type in Locked On Bets and you will find us. And you can find Lee on X at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. And we will be back with you coming up on Tuesday for another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.